right, you picked the Black Album. Why the Black Album for this conversation?
That's actually a good question. I don't think there is a record that I know more about.
Yeah.
Like, just in general. So I figured it would be a good conversation piece anyway. And then also, I've been just listening to it a lot for some reason recently. I think I revisited some of the non-hits, some of the B-sides.
Yeah.
And realized that, like, there's really not a bad song on the record. And it kind of sparked, like, a new appreciation for it a few weeks ago, just coincidentally.
Yeah. It's like, I forgot how many, like, licks are deep embedded in songs that, like... I think one thing that I always forget about this record is that they, you know, obviously they went with a producer who'd done big bands and had just come out of doing Motley Crue and stuff like that. So that's a huge difference. But at the same time, you know, the record before this was still very, like, riff heavy, song structure heavy Metallica. It's not like this was, like it's interesting to see that this record is kind of where the change starts happening for the band. But there is still this weird dynamic of, like, there are still lots of really cool, like, metal licks happening deep in the songs.
Yeah. Before we get into it, what is your overall opinion of this record?
I really like it. Like, I mean,
okay,
obviously, you know, like, I assume most people our age, this was the first Metallica thing I heard. And I mean, I think, I must have heard it when I was 12 or something.
Right.
When I started listening to metal, 11 or whatever. And I just remember immediately loving Enter Sandman because it's everything that I would go on to like anyway. Like, I mean, even listening to it yesterday, I forgot that there's like a, you know, the return to the riff at the end of the song has like a, which is like,
dude,
that's like
and it's
all I like
awesome
about music. You know?
Yeah. It's like really heavy. And I know this is corny, but I was also a kid, you know, who like, I mean, Black Album stuff was on the radio. We had a radio station here in Chicago called Q101.
Yeah.
Q101 was an affiliate of K-Rock
in
Los Angeles, which was like the rock station, you know? So like, it was just, they played everything. They played tons of Alice in Chains. We talked about this last time. They played lots of Nine Inch Nails. That's I heard about Nine Inch Nails. And tons of Metallica. And that part, if you listen close, and if you're like a naive young man growing up listening to this in your mom's car, kind of sounds like he says "Bo" during that part. He goes like "Bo." So like even when I was a kid, I was like, wow, he's talking to me. I'm the little baby. So I was trying to think of that today. Like, when I actually think if I really was like pressed, I think I probably heard "Memory Remains." I think that's the first memory I have, ironically, of a Metallica song.
Yeah.
I just remember Marianne Faithfull like singing that creepy part.
Yeah.
So I think that was like 94, which I would have been like 7.
Yeah, sure.
You know, right when you're kind of starting to remember anything that's not like the Wheels on the Bus or whatever.
Yeah.
And then I remember the S&M record. My mom bought it.
Mm-hmm.
And then, then by that time you're just kind of like, oh yeah, the Black Album. Yeah, everybody knows that.
Yeah.
Enter Sandman. Heard it 100,000 times.
Well, I think like,
and then, you.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I just think like, I mean, I certainly have the same thing with like Nothing Else Matters. Like, I'm sure I'd heard that song a million times before I knew it was Metallica, you know?
Yeah, good point.
Yeah.
Right. So then you do the thing, where you get older and you find out that Metallica was like a legit thrash band, right?
Yeah.
So you get into like the older records, and then it's like, oh, well, fuck the Black Album, obviously. I mean, obviously I don't like that, dude, and everyone has to like say it. And it's like, yeah, I'm the first 4 records only guy. And then, for me, I just kind of like, I got more and more into heavy music, and you kind of realize like, Black Album and Load and Reload kind of have some hits. And dude, I mean, I want to go through. We don't have to talk in depth about every song, but I want to go through every song because, like,
I've probably got notes on all of them, so that's fine.
I mean, so I started a job recently where I'm driving around the city collecting scooters for one of the scooter companies. So today I listened to it twice.
Yeah,
driving around just on repeat. Absolutely blasting in a giant Sprinter, just like bombing around Chicago, throwing scooters all over the place, just like, yes, just loving it. So yeah, let's you know what though, I want to pull up the track listing so I don't like forget, miss out on anything. But let's start with Enter Sandman. I know that's first.
Well, I mean, my first Sandman note is that good on Kirk for getting in and writing like the biggest riff they have. Like
easy, yeah.
You know,
easy.
When you think about the scope of that band, it's Lars, it's Hetfield, and then it's Kirk.
Yeah.
In the just slightly to the
kind
side,
of
like
right.
But good for him for coming in and getting that first credit on the biggest song of their career,
And do you know about like what the original riff was?
No, please go on.
So the original riff that like he put on a demo tape that he handed to James and Lars was it had the tag after every and Lars, being a weird genius, decided, hey, only do the tag on, at the end of the measure.
Yeah.
And then there you go,
It's like, it's so funny to me that for all the grief that he gets, which a lot of it is deserved, I would say, and particularly the grief that he gets about his drumming, because, I mean, like, it has gotten worse over time. There's no... oh,
my God.
Or... I mean, even just today, this is a slight side note, because I consumed so much Metallica content over the last day listening to this and stuff, my YouTube is just serving me up so much Metallica now, and it gave me that new S&M For Whom the Bell Tolls, and there is a bit in the video where he he goes kind of out of time in a fill, and the whole orchestra is just like it's in the video. God. Like, you could see the dude playing like the timpani drums stops. Like, he's just like, because obviously he can't keep going in time if the band's now got to like swing into Lars time. Like, he's got to go, oh, okay, we're back in. Like,
dude, it's funny, dude, because like, have you ever seen A Year and a Half in the Life of Metallica?
That's what I watched to like the last 2 days.
Excellent.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
It's great.
That documentary, I think, is one thing Metallica has always... I mean, obviously, that thing is like good in a serious way, and Some Kind of Monster is good in like a hilarious way.
Yeah.
Opposite ends of the spectrum. But I mean, they're very good at like documenting shit that they do and stuff. And I love both parts, the making of and the touring on. And you understand immediately. There's one part in part one when he's talking about, oh yeah, mixing is like you can make stuff louder and pan it from side to side, or make it go on only the left or only the right, or add a bunch of like weird shit. Like, that is his description of what mixing is. It's like, bro, this is your 5th record.
Yeah. And
you already have platinum albums.
Yeah, and you've paid millions of dollars to do what you're currently doing, and that's your understanding of it.
It's insane. But so my opinion of this record is I think I don't think it's their best record. Sure. I think it's their most important record. I don't think it's their best record. I'm a Master of Puppets guy.
Yeah.
Because I think, honestly, as much of a huge, like, I have a huge bias. I'm a huge, Metallica fanboy. They have songs on every record that I'll skip.
Yeah.
I don't like Kill 'Em All outside of like 2 riffs on 2 songs.
Sure.
It's like a demo to me. I'm just not a Kill 'Em All guy. Ride the Lightning has like the best vibe.
Yeah.
Coolest style, bullet belts, screeching, skateboards, and the Misfits. Like, it's awesome.
Yeah.
But like Escape and even Trapped Under Ice are just kind of like whatever, you know, like they're not amazing. Master of Puppets front to back, no skips, amazing record. And Justice to me has like the hits, like some of my favorite songs, Blackened, Harvester, One, and fucking Shortest Straw.
Yeah, so
but I'm not listening to a 9.5 minute song with 16 time changes. Like, I'm sorry guys, like I'm out. You know, so I skip a lot of stuff. Eye of the Beholder, not that cool of a song. So there's stuff that I skip, and it used to be on the Black Album that I would, after Wherever I May Roam, I would probably turn it off and just be like, all right, I've heard it for a long time. Which we'll get to, but this record I've realized is like one of the most important, and it's kind of why I wanted to talk about it. I think it's one of the most important records that's come out ever.
Yeah, oh yeah.
But like, I'm not even being hyperbolic or like trying to exaggerate or like, I like legitimately believe it's probably the most important record that ever came out, at least within the very broad spectrum of what heavy metal is.
Yeah, I mean, like it sold 31 million copies to date, and it sells the current average is it sells something like 5,000 copies a week, like, and it has done. Obviously, it sold more than that when it came out, but like, if your record is still this record came out 20 years ago and it still sells 5,000 copies a week. I again doing like the little
came out 30 years ago.
30 years ago, sorry, yeah.
Yeah, shit.
And like looking up like just information about it, there was like a little article with Jason Newsted basically saying like someone was like, is it true you can live off Metallica royalties? And he's like, yeah, of course it's true. Like, what do you... That it sells like he's like, one record sells enough for me to live off. And they're like, so why do you keep doing bands? And he's like, because I want to play music. It's not like...
Yeah, like,
it's
the same reason I left Metallica.
Yeah. You know? It's like, oh, you don't just get a job and when you have enough money, you go, okay, that's it. I don't do anything anymore. I'll just sit at home forever now. Like, but...
Yeah. Okay, so Sandman. Good intro riff.
Yeah.
Strong. You got Hetfield truly at his prime, in my opinion. He sounds fucking perfect on this record. And like, personally, I think that's all due to Bob Rock.
Yeah.
Like, I understand Bob Rock gets a lot of hate.
Well,
I don't know if that's deserved, really.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
And I think he's a producer. It's not like he's doing the job that he was paid to do, and they have every right to say no. Like, it's their band. He didn't make them do it, you know. I think...
Yeah.
But you can tell, like... I mean, even in that, you know, in the doco, like, he's like, no. Don't, like, puss out on that singing like that. Like, you have to go hard on the... Which is like, okay, if he was a pop guy, he wouldn't be saying that. You know, he's clearly trying to make it a Metallica record. Like, he's trying to make it hard, and he's,
right.
You know. But yeah, certainly his vocals are insane. On like the level of, I guess, musical improvement from one record to the next is crazy.
Like, and right away when it kicks in, there's like crazy low end. It's a sonic like experience, which like again. And Justice sounds like absolute dog shit.
Yeah.
I love that record, but it's like almost unbearable to listen to. Like, if you're driving and you're listening to it in a car stereo, turning that loud is awful.
Yeah.
It's one of those kinds of things, you know? And so I think the juxtaposition between each record, like right off the rip, 20 seconds in, and you're like, oh, this sounds amazing. This sounds incredible.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell is going, you know what I mean? So, yeah, I love it. I love that the biggest song they ever did is the standard beat on open E. Just let's go. And it's a perfect opener.
Yeah.
It's a perfect opener to that record.
There's a bit where Bob Rock is talking about, I can't remember what's
Holier Than Thou.
Yeah. And he's like, oh, this is the song. Like, this is the single. This is...
Yeah.
And I was like, I mean, clearly that's a sign that it's not Bob Rock's fault, because his thought of a single is not the most popular song. So, and like, I don't know. I assume their management had something to do with it, as their management is very clearly very involved with everything that they've done. But like, that being picked as the first song on the record's got to be the band going like, oh no, this is the punch this record needs to start with. But I mean,
really crazy.
The other thing with that song too is just like, it's super simple, which is obviously this. I mean, the broad stroke of this record is that it was them admittedly trying to do something more straightforward, because I think they talk about it in there, saying like, the other songs were really long and had lots of different parts and all this, and even just like the drumming going like, just playing like the AC/DC beat instead of playing, like every song. It changes the vibe, and I get it's cool that the idea is to use that to accentuate the vocals, but at the same time, like, of course that's going to be more impactful when it's just like the first song is just like straight away like bop 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 bop,
Yeah, it's so awesome, man.
I
really like.
No, go.
Sandman is like their, it's their fucking mother.
Yeah.
Or their, it's like the most overplayed. We've all heard it, and like, surely no one ever needs to listen to that song ever again.
Yeah.
But I still like get psyched when I hear that song. Like, I still like, because I know that end part, the and then coming. The bow part is, I know it's coming. Your dog wanted to get involved, and not Metallica wants to get involved. This is Metallica, everyone. You trying to go up there? Let me put him in his spot real quick. Say hi. Right. He's got a little perch that he likes to chill in, and the MacBook is in his way. All right. So yeah, good song, great single. Obviously a great single, like the most important song they ever did. Obviously. So I don't even think we really need to talk about that. Like, it's like ironically not that important to talk about, because it's like
everyone knows.
Yeah, no shit. Who doesn't know? And then we have Sad True, which is like an insane song.
Yeah, and like I guess that the other thing too is like, you kind of touched on it, but like, this record is very top heavy, and like in that the front end is loaded with like the first 6 songs are all like,
I think the A side has 4 hits.
Yeah, and they were all the singles,
1.
right?
Yeah, all the singles, yeah.
Which is crazy.
Which is like crazy.
Yeah.
And really kind of is the definition of like what B-sides are, in the sense of like, yeah, it's on the B side of the record, but it's a good song, man. But this song was the last single that they did.
Yeah, right.
I just read today. So Sandman came out in 91, and this one came out in 93.
Jesus.
Think about that. The record came out in 91.
Yeah.
But this was like released as a single in 1993 because they were still fucking touring on the record.
Yeah. This was the start as well of them, I guess because of how popular the record was, but this was also the start of them getting to the point where they were like actually touring the entire year, every year, right?
Yeah, they did. I think it was 20 months straight of touring, with a few weeks in between tours at home and stuff. Like in the Year in the Life Part 2, Lars is like, I think if we do this tour, it'll be good because we'll get a nice long 2-week Christmas vacation. And you're just kind of like, holy fuck, man. But then also at the same time, they're not sleeping on floors and riding in vans. They have a jet.
Yeah.
With their logo on it. You know what I mean? So it's kind of one of those things that's like, obviously they had done like real touring up until then, but
yeah,
I think you and I could both very comfortably survive in a jet and a hotel suite to ourselves.
Yeah.
So
wouldn't be that hard.
Kind of go, and then also on top of it, making millions of dollars.
Oh yeah.